Hey friends, Jill here. Welcome back to a Spring Willow farm. This morning I am out in the tunnel, and as you can see from the last time I was out in the tunnel, I've actually not gotten anything done. I always have good intentions, but it requires a lot of work, and now I've been sowing things out into the garden, getting ready for fall. I know I have more of a window in here because this is a season extension. I have a longer amount of time to be growing in here, so I'm not as stressed about getting this cleaned out as quickly as I was the raised bed garden. But now that I have the raised bed garden pretty much cleaned out to where I can start putting fall things in there, the rest of our fall things are going out here into the tunnel. So that is what I'm going to be spending my morning doing. Is cleaning off, I think, these first two beds, because we really need to get these trellises down, and that is what Jess and Maya did. Is they would bring in the cattle panels and they would put them up in the summertime to trellis their tomatoes on, and then they would take them down whenever they got ready to plant their fall things, which is exactly what I'm going to be doing. So my goal is just to clean them off. A lot of the tomatoes in this bed in particular have just died. They've gotten disease. They've been in here really early on since the season. So I'm going to be taking all of these out. Then I'll have Nathan. I definitely can't get the cattle panels down by myself. So I'm going to have Nathan help me. But I do have my buckets. I'm going to be collecting all the tomatoes from all these plants that we're ripping out. We're going to be donating them. It feels so good. This is something we have talked about doing. And the fact that the day is actually here that I can put in this sweat equity and go and donate these and do what it is that has been on mine and Nathan's heart to do feels really, really good. I am hoping too to have enough food in here. So our church does these Christmas and Thanksgiving food boxes, and essentially they take food boxes to families in need, and then church members will go on Thanksgiving morning and Christmas morning and help deliver all these boxes, and it's really cool. We have had the opportunity to be a part of that in years past, but last year we didn't, and so I kind of have a goal this year. I want to be able to crank out enough in here to be able to supply at least something from our garden in each of those boxes that go out for Thanksgiving and Christmas. I think that would be really cool, and so I'm trying to think through and brainstorm through some ideas on something else I could do too, you know, like just a special, a little extra something special. I don't know. I'm trying to think through that, but that is one of my goals with this tunnel. Is I knew I wanted to donate a lot of the food. Like, we knew that was, you know, a way God was calling Nathan and I to minister to our community, and we're gonna be able to do that largely come this summer, and that's awesome. And when we're getting all of this stuff out, we're able to do that and donate it to food banks and things like that. But there's still some very specific things that we feel called and led to do, and I just really been thinking about that lately, and it gave me this motivation, like, girl, you better get your butt out in the high tunnel and start working on this stuff. And so that's what I'm doing. It feels so good though to like do work for more than just yourself, you know what I mean? It just, my goodness, it feels so good sweating, getting your hands in the soil, and knowing, I mean, even if you're wise because you're feeding your family, that is a good stinking why to have. And so I have just been so encouraged the last few days about what we're going to be able to do on this farm, and it has me feeling really inspired. I wanted to show you guys this. It's a little bright this morning. I'm a little late coming out here, but check out, we had our first dahlia bloom. Look at that. Isn't she just wild and amazing? She's not fully open. And then we have another one right over here that's going to be opening soon. You know, growing dahlias is definitely, this is my first year doing it. These are dahlias from tubers. I grew dahlias from seed, which are slightly a little different. And so that right there, seeing that flower has me so stinking excited though, because we're going to be growing lots of flowers in this tunnel, and I'm real excited. So I think we're going to have at least, like this full bed will be, I think this is the bed we have designated in this middle kind of block there. You guys probably can't see it that well because it's sunny, but there are sunflowers in there. So we've got the top half dahlias, second half sunflower, ginger on the end, whenever all that comes out, he's got a whole bunch of other flowers that he has started that will make their way in there, and that is just really exciting. You know, it really is crazy to me just how long these tomatoes have lasted. And I've grown tomatoes in a tunnel before. I think variety makes a huge difference on growing tomatoes in a tunnel. So a lot of these, some of these were determinate varieties, which means they grow to a determined height. But then some of these are indeterminate varieties, which means they grow to an indeterminate amount. If you're doing indeterminate varieties, there's a lot of like really good methods on like lower and lead methods and things like that to kind of help. It's hard when you have a cattle panel like this and you do, especially in a tunnel. Sorry little ant, you got to go. Especially in a tunnel because one, things grow so much faster in a tunnel. It truly is insane how fast things grow in here. So what'll happen is they'll start growing to the very top of that to the cattle panel, and then they'll just flop over. And a lot of times they'll just start going down the other side of it, which isn't bad. But for me, I have found that when I grew in the tunnel, I really preferred to grow determinate varieties. The Grand Marshal from Johnny's Seeds was my absolute favorite. I know she has some of those in here. I just don't know where they are. I think they're back there because I see some that are that look a lot like that. But she's got a lot of paste tomatoes in here, and I think that these tomatoes have done really good considering how long they've been in here. I mean, she planted these, Lord, a while ago, and they're all, I mean, if we're at the end of August and they're just now starting to get some really bad disease, because I came out here before we had moved and I, you know, ripped out all the bad plants, all the disease plants, and so I feel like this tunnel and these tomatoes, it'll definitely be what I grow in here every year in the summertime, along with a few other things, flowers and things like that. But the tomatoes in a tunnel, if you've ever thought about growing tomatoes in a tunnel, do it. I would so encourage you to do it because it is so surprising the difference that it makes. I would love to, and I think Jessica maybe thought about doing this, or maybe she did do it, I'm not sure. But growing a variety in the tunnel and growing the same variety outside and doing a comparison on how fast they grew, when they produced fruit, how larger the one fruit was versus the other fruit, and then how long that plant lasted in the tunnel versus outside in the raised bed garden. And so that is something that I have in my notes to do for next year, just to really do a comparison and show you guys the benefits of growing in a tunnel. That did not work out very well. Okay, I get asked a lot if I like growing in a tunnel. You know, I just get asked a lot of questions, and I do. One, because of the season extension, it is really, really nice. But then there are so many other benefits, like your plants lasting longer in the season. You know, there's just a lot of other really wonderful benefits of it. So if you're thinking about it, I say do it. Look at these tomatoes. That's awesome. You know, it's so funny. Nathan and I were walking through the farm the other night, just casting our vision, talking about things, talking about animals in particular. And we were just casting our vision, talking about that, which we have been talking to you guys about that as well too. And there's so much excitement in this season. There are so many things that Nathan and I are just so excited about, right? Like, I mean, this chapter in our life is legitimately what I have prayed for. And I found myself sitting in the garden sad. And I was like, why are you sad? Like, this is literally everything you've ever wanted. And you guys, it's okay to be happy and sad. That is a real thing. You can be so ecstatic about what's to come and still be sad about what you're leaving behind. And it's different. It was this moment of the farm that I knew for 4 years, the farm that built me and grew me and taught me and did all these wonderful things for me, was gone. Like, that was my home. And I know that we will make this new farm our home. And I am so beyond elated for all the opportunities that come from this farm. I found myself missing our old farm. And I never thought that would happen. It was such a strange feeling, if I'm being honest, because I had longed for this. I had prayed for this. I don't want our old farm. You know what I mean? So it wasn't like this, oh, I miss this and I want to go back. It was just like, wow, I miss that. I miss that it was familiar. I miss that I knew every square inch of it. And now I'm in this new property where I don't know every square inch. I'm having to learn these things. I'm having to come up with new routines. I'm having to navigate obstacles that I never had to navigate before. And it's different. And I think a lot of times when we embark on something new and we do this big thing and we could be doing the right thing, like Nathan and I truly feel like this was the right decision for us, and we know it was the right decision for us, you can still be sad about what you're leaving behind. And I think a lot of times that gets missed. A lot of people kind of portray this, oh, we're doing this thing and it's just going to be rainbows and butterflies the whole time. And I don't really believe that. I think that there has to be a season of you grieving what you left behind so you can take on the new thing that's being birthed out of whatever it is that you're, embarking on. And for me, this farm is that new thing that we, are kind of taking hold of, and we're making it our own, and it's going to be magical, it's going to be wonderful, it's going to be community driven, it's going to be all of these things. But it's still okay that I miss what I had. You know what I mean? I don't know. I was thinking about that, and I was talking about that to Nathan, and I was like, I think you can be happy and sad, and that's okay. These are normal feelings to feel. And I feel like we don't talk about that enough. And Nathan agreed that I wasn't crazy, so that was nice. But I don't know. I know a lot of us are going through a lot of different things. I know we've heard a lot of you guys' stories of y'all embarking on new adventures as well. We have gotten a lot of emails from many of you guys saying that you have bought property this year and you're starting your, dream farm, and that's incredible. I mean, that's incredible. That's awesome. But just know that even though you're on the right path, you're doing what you feel called to do, sometimes there's still sadness in what you're leaving behind, and that's okay. I was actually talking to Jessica yesterday, and I was working in the garden, and she told me, she said, it's so funny. She's like, when I see you walking through the garden and planting, like, I know exactly where you are. I know exactly what I planted there this year and the year before and the year before. And she knows this farm like the back of her hand. And I know one day that's going to be me. I know one day I'm going to have put all the love, sweat, and tears in here that she has, that I will no longer miss our old farm. It'll just be a fond memory in the past. It'll be something that we can tell our kids about. The farm that started us, that really got us into this journey. And it will be a sweet story to tell. But I am looking forward to the day when I can have someone over and I can tell them, oh, I remember the first year we bought this farm and I planted this here and this here. And just tell the stories that Jessica tells. Jessica has all these stories to tell because this was her home. This was the farm that built her. Just like how our previous farm was the farm that built me. And I will always have those memories. I will always tell those stories. But while I was a little bit saddened, I was even more ecstatic about the stories that are going to come from this farm, the promise that's going to come from this farm. It made me really excited because I know that change is hard. I know that transition is just that. It is a transition. It is challenging for a time being before really good and greater calls. I always think about birth, I'm a doula. I'm in the birth world. And I always think too, when I have clients who are going through the transition, and I'm like, if you can just hang on for this really uncomfortable short period of time, you're going to have one of the greatest gifts. You're going to birth a human being. I think that is magnificent. And that's what I try to remind myself. So I don't know. I just know it's going to be a sweet time. I know transition is hard, but it's a small window of difficulty for a really larger, greater reward. And I want to encourage you guys with that today too. If you're going through some sort of transition yourself and you know it's the right transition, but you're having difficulties, be encouraged that you're not going to be in that season forever. Transition's going to come and go. You're going to have this beautiful, magnificent thing, whether, you know, that's a farm that you've bought or whatever it is that you are embarking on. I just want you to know that that feeling of, wow, this is hard, doesn't last forever. And then there's a greater feeling. I can tell you that the feeling of sadness has officially left me. I think I had not really let myself go through the emotions of leaving our old farm. I think I was so excited to get here that it's all I thought about. And then when I got here, I started realizing, oh, well, we're not going back there anymore. And so it slowly, gradually started hitting me. But now that I had my moment of sadness, I come out here and I see so much stinking beauty. I see so much stinking promise. And you guys, I'm excited. Like, I am just so excited for what's to come for Whispering Willow Farm. So thank you guys for hanging out with me in the tunnel. We had our little morning tunnel talk. But thank you guys so much. Y'all have been such a blessings to our life. So we'll talk to you soon.